God. All right, so let me try this again. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the last one that came in was 13, and we're going to put $1 on the 13. It doesn't matter which one, but it's got to be a corner. And we're going to spin. That's a 7, red. Okay, that doesn't matter anyway. So now we're going to rebet, and now we're going to play the 7 corner and spin. All right, that's a 1 red. All right, so we're going to rebet, and now we're going to play the 1 corner and spin. That's a 29 black. All right, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to play the 29 and spin. That's a 10 black. All right, that's a $5 win. So we're going to rebet, and we don't have to do anything because that was, oh no, we take away, right? We take away that bet and spin. That's a 22 black. All right, so we're going to rebet, and now we're going to play the 22, but we're going to play it so that we have double coverage, so we have a better chance of winning. So we're going to rebet and spin. Okay, that's a 20 black. All right, that's a, I'll say rebet. And so now we're going to play the 20 down here and spin. And that's a 25 red. All right, finally, we got a $13 win. And we're going to rebet. And now we're going to take off the 25. So either one of these, we could take off one. All right, and spin. And that's a 1 red. All right, that's a hit. So we're going to rebet. And now we're going to take the 1 off and spin. And that's a 33 black. That's a loss, but we're going to rebet, and we're going to add that one and spin. $32 red. That's a hit, so we got 5. Okay, we're going to rebet. Now we got a 32, which is a hit, so we're going to take that one off and spin. $34 red. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to add the 34 and spin. That's a 17 black. That's a nice hit. That's 14 units. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take one of these 17s off. right, and then we're going to spin. It's a 14 red. All right, that's another hit. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove the 14. And spin. And that's a 2 black. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 2 and spin. That's a 4 black. All right, so that's a rebet. And we're going to play this one and spin. Hoping for a 2 or a 5 now. That's a 3. I think that's a hit. It is. That's a 5-unit hit, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to take away the 3 and spin. Now watch, we'll get the 5. 32 red. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away the 32 and spin. Okay, that's a 0. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to add the 0 double double. All right, spin. Oh, I wanted to hit the 0. 14. All right, that's a loss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to add the 14 and spin. That's a 19 red. That's a loss, so we're going to rebet. And now either way, we're going to inherit another. All right, so we're going to put it there and rebet and spin. And that's a 22 black. All right, that's good choice. All right, so we're going to rebet. We're going to remove one of those 22s. We'll remove this one and spin. And that's a 0. That's a good one. That's a $14 win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove the 0 and spin. That's an 18 red. That's a loss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to double it and spin. Should have played the other one. And the 15 black. Yeah, I should have played that one, see? Rebet and spin. That's a 32 red. So we're going to rebet, and I'm going to put a ticket on 32 and spin. That's a 31 black. All right, if I would play the other one, it would have been in good shape. Okay, so now we're going to add the 31 and spin. That's a 6 black. All right, so that's a loss, so we're going to rebet. We're going to play the 6 and spin. And we're hoping for the 5 to come in. There it is. Nice. I called it. 5. That's good. That's an $11 win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove that 5 that we just put on there and spin. All right, that's a 32 red. All right, that's a hit. That's a double hit. Awesome. Rebet. We're going to take one of the 32s off. We'll take that one off and spin. And that's a 2 black. I think that's a hit. It is. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove that 1 to 2 and spin. We're up 58 units now. That's a 34 red. That's a miss. Rebet and spin. I'll rebet and take off the 4. No, add the 4. Sorry. Add the 4 and spin. This would be fun with $10 units, I think. 25 red. All right, that's a win. That's a 4-unit win. So we're going to rebet and we're going to remove the 25 and spin. It's 24. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to play the shit. Okay, and spin. All right, that's an 18 red. All right, that's a hit. So we're going to rebet and we're going to take away the 18. And spin. That's a 3 red. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to replay the 3 and spin. It's a 17 black. That's a good one, I think. Yes, it is. 4 units. Okay, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to take 17 away and spin. That's a 20 black. That's another win. Rebet. And now we're going to take away the 20 and spin. That's a 2 black. That's a good win. 15 units. Good. Rebet. And we're going to take one of these 2s out. And that'll be fine right there. Okay, spin. And that's a 15 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we'll cover the 15 and spin. That's a 7 red. I think that's a miss. It is. So we're going to rebet. And of course, we're going to try to double. We're going to try to get close so we get more. We're going to get less numbers, but we'll get a better jackpot if it comes in. And that's a 31 black. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 31 black and spin. And that's a 4 black. There we go. That's what we were looking for. That's why we put that number in there, okay? So now we're going to rebet. And we're going to take one of those 4s out. And spin. $82. 82 units, 26 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play on the 26 and spin. And that's a 30 red. So that's a win. That's a 4-unit win. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to clear that one out. That's the 30, yep. And spin. And that's a 0. That's okay. It's a loss, but we rebet. And we're going to add the 0 and 0. And we're hoping for a 32-35. 32 or 35 is good. That's a 20, okay. All right, it's a loss, but we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 20 and spin. That's a 0. That's good this time. All right, that's a $12 win. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to take out that 0 and spin. 85 units. That's a 19 red. That's a loss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to put it right there and spin. Now the 17 comes in, we'll be in good shape. That's a 23 red though. All right, so that's a miss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play this, 23, and spin. Now 17 or 20 comes out, we'll be in good shape. Oh, and it just missed the 20, 32. All right, that's the number we wanted, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to take out one of those 32s and spin. Pretty much staying even right now. 31 black. All right, that's another win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take that 31 out and spin. We need a 17 or a 20 to come in. 6, okay. And that's a miss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to add the 6 and spin. And that's a 4 black. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away the 4. And spin. That's a 5 red, and that's what we needed before. Man, that would have been more. Okay, but that's okay. Rebet. I was just saying that, thinking that to myself. I said, watch, the 5 will come in now. All right, well, we're still up 90 units, so that's pretty good. It's 27 red. All right, so we're going to rebet. And now we're going to play the 27 and rebet and spin. 28 black. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 28 and spin. That's a 14 red. All right, that's a good hit. I mean, it's a hit. So now we're going to remove that 14 and spin. That's a 3. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to play it on the 3 and spin. That's a 9 red. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to play this one and spin. All right, that's an $11 unit win, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to take off one of those 24s. Let's take off this one and spin. That's a 4 black. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to play the 4 now and spin. We're up 78 units. That's a 33 black. It's a loss, so we're going to rebet. We're going to play the 33 corner and spin. That's a 0. That's a miss, but it's going to be a hit the next time. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to put the 0 on and spin. That's a 35 black. All right, that's a break even. Rebet. And now we're going to take that out and spin. All right, that's a 10 black. That's a miss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play on that 10 and spin. It's a 16 red. All right, that's a win. Well, it's a win, but it's a break even. So we're going to get rid of the 16 and spin. All right, that's a 17. That's what we needed before, not now. All right, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away the 6 to 17. We needed that right before that hit. Spin. Now we're only up 56 units. We lost a lot of units. 19. That's a miss, so we're going to rebet, and we're going to play the 19 and spin. It's a 28 black. All right, that's a 1 unit win. So now we're going to take away that and spin. That's a 6 black. All right, that's a good one. It's 11. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away one of these, and whichever one would be the best would be this one. All right, and spin. And that's a 21 red. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet. And now we're going to take away the 21. And spin. It's a 16 red. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 16. All right, we're going to play that one. Spin. So this way we can get some jackpots. All right, that's a 30. So we're going to rebet. We're going to play the 30 and spin. That's an 8 black. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away the 8 and spin. Come on, let's start getting some wins at this level. 17. I think that's a hit. All right, that's a 3 unit hit. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove that 17 and spin. That's a 9 red. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 9. Of course, we're going to get to so that we get jackpots. Because we need them. It's a 19 red. All right, that's a hit. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to take away the 19. All right, and then we're going to spin. We need that 5 to come in. Hey, there it is, the 5. Yes, 22 units. Nice. So now we're going to rebet. We're going to take one of those 5s away. Take that one away and spin. Be nice if the 5 came in again. It's a 2. All right, that's another good win. Look at that. Rebet. And we're going to take one of those 2s away. I wonder how we're doing now. I haven't checked it. I haven't seen what we were doing. All right, let's see if this will let us take it away. There we go. All right, and spin. Now, if we win on this, we'll be good. Oh, look at that. We're almost up $100. We should call it quits at 100, but I want to take it down. I want to see how far this goes. All right, rebet. And we're going to play the 27 and spin. All right, that's a 13 black. All right, so we're going to rebet, and now we're going to put on 13 and spin. All right, that's a 22 black. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet, And now we're going to put it on the 22 and spin. And that's an 11. And that's a miss. Rebet. Now we're going to play the 11 and spin. That's a 6 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 6 and spin. That's a 31 black. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 31 and spin. That's a 29 black. All right, that's a 9-unit win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take one of those 29s off. And which one should we take off? Should we take off the 26 or the 29? All right, I think we're going to go with the 29. But actually, put that back. My bad. We have to take off the 26. Oh no, the 29. Oh no, we could take off either one. I see 26 or 29. That's what it is. Okay. So we'll just stick with the 29 and spin. And that's a 35, and I think I picked the wrong one. No, maybe not. It didn't. I don't think it mattered. Okay. Because if that was there, it wouldn't have mattered. Okay. So now we got the 35. So now we're going to remove the 35 and spin. That's a 19 red. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 19. Let's play it over here. Get those three close together and spin. That's an 8 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play on the 8 and spin. And that's a 24 black. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 24. We're going to play right in here. And hopefully we'll get the 26. Looking for the 26. Call it. 26. No. 25. You were one off. All right. But that's still a win. But that was a -1. And we actually a partial loss. And we got... so we got the 25. So we got to take the 25 off. So let's go ahead and do that. And spin. All right, that's a 33 black. That's a loss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to put the 33 back in and spin. Got lots of jackpot numbers. That's a 14 red. All right, we got a jackpot. Rebet. And now we're going to take off one of the 14s. You know we're going to take off this one. So we still have a 14. We still have the 17 as the jackpot number. We need 17, 5, 27, 30, 26, or 29. 5 would be ideal. 5 is the jackpot, the biggest jackpot. All right, so hopefully we get a 5. No, 9. All right, so we got a 9. So that's a hit, though. But unfortunately, it's a break even. And actually, we're going to lose that jackpot number. I mean, it's still going to be a jackpot, but not as high as it would have been. So we're going to go ahead and spin. All right, so that's a 20 black. All right, that's a hit. And that takes away another jackpot potential. That's kind of stinks. Okay, so rebet and spin. And we're down to 44 units. All right, that's a 0. That's a good hit. All right, that's an 11-unit hit. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to remove that 0, 0, 0, and spin. We got a 55 units. All right. That's a 25 red. All right, that's not good. So we're going to rebet and we're going to play. Now 26 or 29, that's what we need. 26 or 29 would be ideal. 26 or 29. That's a 1. All right, that's not good because that takes away our jackpot number. Man, it takes away the 2 and 5 as jackpots. Okay, that's okay though. That's what this is. Okay, so we're still gaining 1 chip. All right, so let's go ahead and spin. That's a 22 black. All right, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play that 22. Now we got 26. We really want that 26 to come out. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. Come on, 26. 23. No, we wanted 26. All right, that's still a jackpot, but it takes away that potential of the 26 now because we got to remove one of those. So we're going to remove this one. All right, and spin. Now we got that. Now that 26 is no longer a jackpot. It's still a jackpot, but 7. All right, so that's a loss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to place it there. And actually, no, clear that. We're going to put it here so that we get that 5 as a jackpot and spin. Come on, 5. 20. Okay. I think that's a hit. No, it's not. Okay, rebet. All right, so now we're going to put the 20 in there. Right there. And spin. Now 17 will be a nice jackpot if it comes in. That's a 15 black. That's a loss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to add the 15. Now we need the 17 to come in. 17 or 26. Yeah, 17 or 26. 17 or 26 would be good. And 16. All right, it's a jackpot, but not what I really wanted. So we're going to rebet. And now we got to lose one of those 16s, which I'm not happy about, but we got to do it. All right, so we'll lose that one and spin. That's a 17. Now we get the 17. Still a jackpot, but man, if we would have got it the other way. All right, so we're going to rebet. And now we're going to take one of those 17s away. Take that one away and spin. That's a 00. All right, that was a miss. Rebet. And we're going to place a bet on 000. Now we're still looking for the 26 for the jackpot. 26 for the jackpot. All right, that's 36. 10 too many. So we're going to rebet. And now we're going to place another bet there. And spin. We're opening up to more jackpot numbers. That's a 29 black. I think that's a good number. That's a great number. So we rebet. And 29, we got to take one of those 29s off. Oh, I didn't even see that. Right, you could have went either way. Okay. So we got to take one of the 29s off. So we're going to take off this one because we still want to leave the 26 as a jackpot number. And spin. That's a 15 black. That's a win. Not a big win, but it's a win. So now we're going to take that one off. And spin. We need 26 to be the the jackpot number, 20. All right, that's a loss. So we're going to rebet. And let's get another jackpot in there. The 23 will be a jackpot now. But we want the 26. Okay, so spin. That's a 3 red. All right, so that's a $1 win. So we're going to rebet. We're going to remove the 1. Just lost the 5 as a jackpot number, but that's okay. All right, this is a good comp game. This is good if you use like $10 units. There it is. There's the jackpot number we were looking for, and that hit for 20 bucks. That's a good win. That's what we were looking for. All right, so now we got to take one of those 26 off. So let's take this one off and spin. Now we're up 72 units. That's a 35 black. All right, that's a win. That's a 3-unit win. So we're gonna rebet. All right, and now we gotta take that off and spin. Let's get a 0 now. 29 black. All right, that's a jackpot number. Okay, so rebet. And we're going to lose one of those 29s. So let's go ahead and lose one of them. Let's lose that one and rebet and spin. Now we're up 88 units. Good time to walk. That's 28 black. All right, that's a $5 win. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to remove the 25 and spin. All right, that's an 8 black. All right, that's a win. That's a good win. Rebet. And what you can do is you can just play this until you get 0, until you got nothing else on the board. So we get a 0 or a double 0. That'll help us a lot. All right, that's an 18 red though. It's hard to get rid of everything because everything's, oops, I spun without betting. Well, hopefully that didn't do anything. 17 black. I think that would have been a win. Rebet. No, it wouldn't have been. Well, yes, it would have been because I would have played it there. Well, I don't want to play it there. I want to play it there. So we get some jackpot numbers. Yeah, and it would have been a win. Yep. 97. That's an 18 red. All right, that's a win. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to disqualify that one and spin. We're up over $100 now. Good time to call it out. 12. That's a loss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to add the 12 and spin. And that's a 13. That's good. Maybe we'll get rid of that one. No, it's not. It's down on the bottom. Rebet. And we're going to add the 13. Now we got a 14 as a jackpot. And we're going to spin. That's a 27 red. That's a miss. Rebet. And we'll play that. And we'll have a 23 as a jackpot number. We need to build this thing back up. We were up. Yeah. That's a 9. That's a miss. Rebet. And we're going to play that one. Now the 11's a jackpot number and spin. It's a 15 black. All right, that's a 3-unit win, but now that breaks my jackpot number on 11. That's a 10 black. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to rebet. And we're going to play the 10. Now 13 and 14 are jackpot numbers, and the 11. 13, 14, 11, 23, and 24 are all jackpot numbers. So let's spin. That's a 5 red. That's usually a lot of times that's a jackpot number, but not this time. All right, so we're going to rebet and spin. We still got our 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers that are jackpots. All right, so let's rebet and spin. And that's a 7 red. And that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play on the 7. Now we got the 8 added as a jackpot number. 8 and 11 is the super jackpot number now. All right, so we're going to spin. So we need 11. A 0, okay. We'll take that because I think that's covered right now. Yep, that's a 10-unit win. So we're going to rebet, and we're just going to remove the zeros now and spin. We want the 11. 15. Is that going to break up our thing? Nope, because it's a loss. So now we're going to have a super 11 jackpot number and spin. Now we really want that 11 to come in. Come on, 11. No, not 8. And that's going to break up our... We got a jackpot, but it's breaking up my 4-line hit. So I got to take one of these off. So it's taking off my super jackpot number of 11. But 11 is still a jackpot number, but just ain't as high as it was. That's a 4 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. And we're going to play over here, make the 8 and the 5 jackpot numbers and spin. That's a 23 red. That's a jackpot. All right, we'll take that. Rebet. And that's not bad because I'm not breaking any of the jackpots up. Okay, so spin. Relook at this again when we get this done. And 28 black. All right, let's take a look at what the jackpot numbers are now. All right, the jackpot numbers are 14. The 11 is the best one. 8 and the number 5. Those are all jackpot numbers. The 11 is ideal. Let's get an 11. Let's not get anything to break that up. 33. Okay, that's good. I mean, it's a loss, but it's good. Actually, let's clear that. Let's make that 29 a jackpot number now and spin. That's a 36. That is a miss. Okay, but that's going to give me another jackpot number of 32. Now our jackpot numbers are 32, 33, 14, 8, 5, and of course that 11 is the super jackpot. So let's get an 11 here. That's a 2 black. All right, that's a win, but it's a loss. So it's a win, but a loss because we lost 1 unit on that. So we're going to take that one out and spin. All right, that's a 31 black. That's a miss. Rebet. And we're going to put it on 31, but we put it on the wrong one. We're going to put it on there. Now we got 29 and 11, which are super jackpots. Okay, and spin. That's a 32. That's a jackpot. Okay, 9. Not the ideal jackpot. We would have rather get on the other side, but that's okay. Rebet and spin. So we got 66 now. That's an 11. All right, that's a 19. Oh, that's our 11. Oh my goodness. Look at that. All right, so we did get that jackpot. That's good. So now we're going to get, now we got to take the 11 off. So we're going to take this one off. All right, and spin. All right, that's a 23 red. All right, that's a win, but it's not an ideal win, but it's a win. So we're going to take that one away now. And now our jackpot numbers are 8, 11, 14, 29, 28, 13, 10, and 7. So rebet, spin. We got 87 units now. 9. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet, and now we're going to make more jackpot numbers. Now we got the 8 and the 11 to be super jackpots. And then we got the 7, 10, 13, 14, 29, and 28 as jackpots. All right, let's go ahead and spin. Let's get an 11 again. That's an 18 red. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to make more jackpot numbers. Okay, so now we got the 14. Yep, the 14 and the 11 as super jackpots. Oops. Spin. You got 74 units. This is a good game. I'm telling you, for comps to just, but you got to play with $10 units with comps. But rebet, and now we're gonna play the dollar there, because this is lasting a long time. 19. All right, that's a miss. So we're gonna rebet, and we're gonna spin on that 19, and we'll give the 17 another jackpot. So we got 17 as a super jackpot, 14 as a super jackpot, 11 as a super jackpot, and the 8 as a super jackpot. All right, and then we got the regular jackpots, which is 29 and 28, and the 7, 10, 13, 16. But we don't want 7, 10, 13, or 16. That'll break us up. We don't want that. We want the 7. We want the 8, 11, 14, or 17. 8, 11, 14, or 17. And that's a 2. That's nowhere near it, so that's good. So rebet, and now we're going to add the 2. And we'll move it here. Yeah, that's good, right? If I move it there, it'll be the 5. Yeah, that's fine. Rebet and spin. Wow, now we're down 47. 15. All right, that's a win, but that breaks up our, for a loss, and it breaks up our monopoly on the things. Okay, spin. Now you can play this either way. You can play it where you get 4 numbers by themselves. There you go. There's a 17. That's a jackpot. So we're going to rebet, and we got to remove one of the 11s. So we'll go ahead and move this one. Let's see. That would ruin that. So yeah, we're only going to take away this one. Because we don't want to break up that. We definitely don't want to break up the 8. We don't want to ruin that 8 spin. Okay. All right, that's a 14 red. All right, that's an even. So we're just going to take out the 14. There's only one choice for the 14, so spin. It's a 22 black. All right, and that's -8. Okay, so we're going to reset and spin. So we got to remove the 22 or add the 22. We got to add the 22. So let's add it here. So we have a jackpot over there and over there. All right, so we got 2 jackpots there and 2 jackpots there, and a super jackpot there, and a jackpot and a jackpot and a jackpot. Okay, let's go ahead and spin. 14 red. It's a miss, so we're going to rebet. We're going to put the 10. No. Got to think about this. We'll put the 14 there, so we give the 11 to be a super jackpot also. All right, so let's go ahead and spin. That's a 21 red. All right, that's a miss, so we're going to go ahead and rebet and spin. Now we have 20. 20 is another jackpot. 20, 11, and 8, and spin. But we are down 35, down to 35 units. 9. All right, that's a red. That's a win. It's a -2, so it's really not a win. So we're going to go ahead and take that out and spin. We didn't have any other choice. That was the only choice we had. And that's a 25 red. All right, that's a -1. That's no good. So we're going to rebet, and we're going to take away that and spin. That's a 16 red. All right, that's a break even. So there's only one choice to take out the 16. So we're gonna, where's the rebet button? It's gone. Oh boy, now we don't remember where we were. All right, so we have to do this. We have the 16, which was the one we had to remove. We have the 25. Don't know which side we had it on, probably that side. And we had a 9. So we had it there or there. I think we had it here because we had the 11. And then 21. And then 14 we had. I think the 14 was here. Pretty sure. And we had 22. I think we had a 22 there. And 14. Don't remember. Yeah, it looks something like that. 14 and then 11. The 11 was the one that we had to remove. Okay, so that's where we were. All right, so we bet, and let's go ahead and spin. It's a 2 black. We're going to rebet, and we're going to pick the 2 and spin. And that's a 12. All right, that's a hit. So we're going to rebet. We're going to take away the 12 and spin. That's a 23 red. All right, that's a jackpot. Awesome. So we're going to rebet. We're going to take away one of those 23s. We'll take away this one. And let's see if we should even continue. Yeah, we should. We're only at 49 units. Let's go ahead and spin. Hopefully we will get 36. Rebet. Now we're going to bet on that 36 and spin. And that's a 9 red. That's a miss. So we're going to rebet and gotta play the 9 now and spin. That's a 17 black. All right, so that's a 2. So we're going to rebet. And now you got to take away the 17. Spin. We're up 40 units. Number 2. All right, that's a 3-unit win. Bet. That's why this would be good with $10 units. All right, so rebet. We're going to take away that 2 and spin. And that's a 17 black. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet and we're going to play the 17 again. And we're going to play that one so we get a jackpot number on the 20. So spin. Hopefully we get a 20. It's a 4 black. All right, so we're going to rebet. Now we got to play on the 4. So we're going to play this so that we get the 8 as a jackpot number and spin. And that's a 31 black. All right, so rebet and spin. All right, rebet and spin. 32 and 35 become jackpots. 23 is a jackpot. 20 is a jackpot. 11 is a jackpot. 8 is a jackpot. 22 is a jackpot. All right, so let's go ahead and spin. And that's a 0. That's all right. Rebet, rebet, rebet. And now we're going to put $1 on the 2 zeros and spin. And that's a 9 red. All right, that's a break even. And it's going to break up my 2 jackpots. Oh my God. Rebet and spin. That's a 9 red. Now I'm going to rebet. And I'm going to have to play that 9 again. Now I'm going to put it back. Rebet and spin. Wow, we're down to 9 units now. Oh my goodness. 10. All right, that's a 0. That's a break even. Rebet. And we got to take the 0 away to take away that jackpot. Spin. If we get down to 0, we're going to call it quits. 29 black. It's a long video. All right, that's a miss. So we're going to rebet. Oh, actually, wait a minute. I think we're at 0. Yeah, we're going to call it quits. All right, so we walked away with $1. I don't know how good that system was, but we did drive it up to over 100. So I don't know. There's different strategies that you can work with. Like let me just show you. There's different ways. Instead of like 29, you pick that one, and then the next number comes in 10. So you would pick this one over here, say, and then 9. So then you would pick 9. You would try, instead of doing the 9 where you double up on the 11, go with the 9 so you have the extra number. And then 9 again, so that would be taken away. So that would be gone now. And then 0. So you would put the zeros in. Zeros are just common, that's it. zeros will go in. And then 31, see, like 31, you could get this one, or you can go that way. Well, this way you have no other choice but to touch. If you have no other choice but to touch, then you have no other choice. But you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta touch if you have to. You have to. Because either way you're gonna be touching. But if you're gonna have to touch, you might as well go with a double jackpot, right? Or no, because then you're taking up, then you're not getting the third number. So so you want to get as many numbers as you can. If you want to play as many numbers as you can, then you're going to go for this one because you have the 35, 34, and 31 covered now. And then the number 4 would be over here. And then the number 17 would be over here. You wouldn't want to play it. You wouldn't want to play it there because there'll be one less number. You want the more numbers. And number 2, obviously you have no other choice but to go there. But now you have a double jackpot. So, but that's another way to play it, to try to stay away from them so that you get more numbers. That's up to you. That is another version. But don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to write me an email and let me know if what you want to do to improve this system. And I'll catch you on the closing.